Hello and good day to you, my beautiful friends. I do hope you are well. Welcome to episode 94 of CrossButton VR, our journey into the world of VR. And I'm your host, Laurie, and it is an honour to be joined by one of the most pragmatic influencers in the metaverse. It's Reece. Hello.
Whoop, whoop. Hello.
Hello. You're pragmatic.
Hello.
You get things done, Reece, don't you? You just get things done.
I try to.
Yeah, that's what people say about you. I say what you like about Reece. He's pragmatic.
Yeah, just that. Could be on my tombstone. Is pragmatic.
Anything else to add? Nope, just that.
No, just pragmatic.
Okay. Are you well?
Yeah, I'm doing good, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not too bad. I've got a long weekend this weekend, even longer than usual. I've got a bit of holiday to use up, so I've got Monday off. So nice 3-day week to end the year on next week. And then we are home and dry till some point in middle of January. So
sorry,
it's good.
Off to the middle of January, or?
Well, not the middle, like till the 7th or 8th of January. So.
Okay, I was going to say, now
it was my kids. Their school they're just
sliding annual leave over the table to you, isn't they? You just take it all off.
Well, actually, I buy extra annual leave because
like a smart person.
My children's schools like to just give them so much time off. So I'm like, yeah, okay, we'll buy some extra time off.
That makes sense.
And then I don't end up using it all. And then I have days like Monday where I'm going to take a day off and just play video games all day. So yeah, there you go.
Nice.
I won't do that all day. I'll be frantically wrapping presents and going to buy some more, probably, no doubt. And I'm sure there'll be some jobs for me to do around the house. I haven't actually played much VR this week because we've had some builders in this week, and I've been. I had to take down all of the TV, the room where the VR and the PlayStation now is. I had to take everything down and take the TV off the wall and everything so they could move some radiators around and put up some new sliding doors and stuff. So it was all messy, and then I had to spend the next night putting it all back up again. And so yeah, it was a chaotic week. Which has not been conducive to much video game playing at all, to be honest. Which is frustrating because I just started that Indiana Jones on the Xbox. That was awesome. And there's so many VR games that I want to progress and catch up and keep going with. So, but alas, these are my problems, Reece. Not yours, not our listeners, not our audiences. Mine.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, I tuned out. Sorry. Where were we?
Good. Well,
as did everyone else. You can all carry on listening now. We're going back to the good stuff.
Right, okay. Well, if my various life admin anecdotes haven't completely put you off and you would still like to support us, please give us a sub on whatever service you're using, comment, like, subscribe, all that kind of shit. And follow us on Blue Sky at CrossButton VR. And also everywhere else that you find stuff like that on TikTok, Facebook, Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah. We're still there.
Check us out.
We're everywhere.
Well, Reece, we've made it nearly to the end of the year. This episode is going to be going out middle of December. We do still have a few other releases that we still can't talk about this week that will round out the year, which we will cover in next week's episode. But I just thought before we jump headfirst into 2025, that sounds like the future, doesn't it? 2025.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Something's going to happen. 2025, I tell you.
You're like a quarter of a century into the century now. It's like, wow, shit, this century's getting real. Already a quarter of the way through it. Where's it going? So yeah, living in the future now. But before we get to that point, I thought it would just be nice just to cast our eye back over the last 12 months of VR, or 2024 in VR, I should say, and just try and get a sense of how it's been as a year. You obviously have a much better track record and experience in history with VR, so it'd be good to hear your thoughts on how you think it stands out in the context of previous years and whether it's been a good year or a bad year. Okay?
Okay. I will give that one word answer to that later.
Just good or bad? Like some sort of like it's been a naughty puppy. You can be like, good.
We do it like Gladiator, where like I put my thumb up and like
Oh, Gladiator, like the Ridley Scott film, not like Gladiators.
Not like the show Gladiators, like the film Gladiator. Who was the main actor? I'm going to say Russell Crowe. Yeah, I got it right.
You'd be right.
Oh, phew.
Not like the new one with Paul Mescal. I'm sure there's someone in that film that does a thumbs up, thumbs down. But
yeah, they've got to bring it back. It's the only thing going for it.
The thumb.
Yeah, that's it. That's all people go for. Oh, he did it. He did the thumb. Right, anyways, let's talk about VR.
Right, yeah. Okay.
The movie bonus episode's coming one day.
The year started, as years tend to, in January. Usually, how things start. And we had quite a decent year. There was quite a decent month, rather. In January, what are you laughing?
It's just the way the year started, where the year would start in January. We know shit. Like,
Well, it started in January. That is the start of the year. I'm just facts. This is fact. This is not controversial. I'm just saying facts. Okay.
Oh God, carry on. Oh, you do make me chuckle. Right. Yes, it started in January.
Vertigo 2 was the big notable release that month, and I don't believe you've even played that, have you? You scary one.
Nah.
That's you're missing out there because it's a quality game, especially for people that like Half-Life, which I believe you do because you like Half-Life, Alex.
I do like Half-Life. I played the best release in January.
Toy Trains.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that was the other release I was about to go on to. Toy Trains. Also, I mean, that was Alex and Ben firm favourite. Both platinumed it. They're crazy mad bastards. I quite enjoyed it. I should go back to it, but I'm not going to. But I would like to go back to it.
I loved it.
If time was not constantly staring.
It was definitely a game I really liked.
Definitely a game you really liked. Okay, not like those games that you maybe really liked, but no.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, what is going on with us tonight? This is terrible. Where are our wordings? This is not doing well.
But I was talking of thumbs down. The January also saw the release of Bulletstorm VR, which did not launch to critical acclaim, although it did launch to Laurie acclaim because I quite enjoyed it.
I feel like he was the only person who did enjoy it.
I was, yeah. Well, it just shows that I am a free thinker that doesn't just follow the herd, and I have my own views on stuff, no matter how stupid that makes me seem. But it's still, I thought it's quite good. It's been patched up now, anyway, so it's even better than it was.
Yeah, they did a lot of work on that. And I love the way they kind of marketed their patches for it and the way they kind of called it the "we fucked up" patch. They really put the blame on themselves where they messed up, and they didn't kind of sugarcoat it. They knew where they messed up, and they just kept pushing for patches.
Yeah. Well, so strong start to the month, though, if you ignore Bulletstorm. I'm not going to go through every release here because we'll
be here all day.
Yeah. Well, and also I don't have the sort of time to put a list like that together because there isn't. As far as I'm aware,
somebody's sitting there going, "Oh, they missed this in January."
Henry stopped it.
Sorry,
has not put together a list on Upload VR for me.
Yeah,
if he had done,
if Henry had done that, we would have had a better format. Henry,
that would have made my life a lot easier. But no, I've just gone through and tried to pick out the notable things. And if you think I've missed anything, by all means, you can start your own fucking VR podcast.
That's not the answer.
Sorry, no, you can let us know in the comments. Anything else that we've forgotten. You can let us know. No, you start your own podcast and you talk about whatever you like on that. But here, right now, we're going on to February, which tends to follow January. And that saw the release of Legendary Tales, which was a very good game that people loved. That was kind of... It came out of nowhere, didn't it? And people were really... It was like, oh, wow, this is it was like awesome sort of co-op adventure game that people absolutely adored. And some people have really sunk, like, it's the game if you want to sink 50 hours into more.
Yeah, you really can.
I know the PS4 about Parole, people absolutely loved it and they put dozens and dozens of hours into it. A lot of people in our Discord and our community loved it. Not really my sort of game. I'm not looking to put hours and hours and tens of hours into games like this, but I was impressed and thought it was a very cool game, and I liked how you could play it with someone else and you can just go adventuring with a friend and just hang out. It's quite cool. Yeah,
it was I think it was the first game I jumped in and played bumped into Miles on as well. I think it was the first time I played with Miles Dyer.
Nice. Nice. I thought you were going to say it was the first game you played with me, but no.
No, we didn't play that together though.
We didn't we? I'm sure.
No,
I'm sure.
Did we?
Yeah, because you kind of held my hand and.
I think you played it with Alex. I think you played that one with Alex. I played it with Alex, and I think Alex then played it with you. I can't remember.
Yeah, this is where you're the guy that can't even remember what number we are. So.
Phil, let us know. Phil, let us know. You'll probably know.
If you can go back to, it will be, and I'll tell you when it was because I do keep a record of some stuff.
No, that'll take too long.
No, it won't. It was the episode 51, which we put out in, I think, the 16th of February. That would have gone out. So if someone could listen to that and tell me if there's any discussion that involves me and Reece playing the game together. Moving on. April I don't have anything for March. Couldn't see anything in my notes for March, or couldn't find anything online for March. By all means, please let me know if I were any big games that came out in March that I've forgotten. But April, there was a game called Mixture, which was kind of like a Moss type game, which I quite enjoyed. I thought it was very good. That got decent reviews. And then over on Quest, Contractors Showdown was a big release that you are quite a fan of.
Quite a fan of, and still playing to this day, so it must be good.
Yeah, there we go. May, however, had two games which, well, one that you absolutely love and one that we both absolutely love. Madison VR, first of all, came out in May.
Good month. Good month. Just like the four that you've put there, good month.
Yeah. Stride Fates also came out in May, which again was a bit janky at launch, but it's been polished up and patched up, and I believe now is a damn good time. I am going through the PSVR 2 release dates.
Exactly.
Games came out in other formats because we are the PSVR 2 predominantly. I will talk about notable releases that were elsewhere, but I'm just trying to cover off when stuff came to PSVR 2. Okay, so sorry if that offends anyone. Stride Fates though, yeah, it's a cool game. Big Shots, which is big fan. Big Shots, big fan.
I enjoyed that. Reece. Good game.
But then the real highlight of the month, Sushi Ben.
Oh,
what a game! What a game!
Literally,
I think that this is probably my favourite game of the year on VR.
I feel like it's one that nobody talks about as well. Like, it really frustrates me that we just don't get anybody adding it to their list saying this is one of the greatest games they've played. Like, it was, I don't know, it was just so polished, no issues whatsoever throughout the whole time playing it.
People are bastards, aren't they?
Like, it was fantastic. Also, let's just a quick shout to like the interview we did with Kane and Brian. I feel like me and you were just proper fanning at them over this game they'd made.
Yeah.
I still find it so funny just to kind of figure back to that, just the way it was.
But I mean, that was a great interview. There's so many fun insights.
So good.
Like the making of the game and the inspiration behind the game.
Yeah.
And just like the Sushi Ben is based on a real person. It's just like, what? That's awesome. Love it. So check that one out. That was released in episode. You can join our Discord and ask Phil, and he'll tell you when that episode was.
Yeah, Phil will tell you.
But yeah, Sushi Ben, that was just such a good release. And they're currently going to doing an update, which will have a English voice cast, which I can see.
Yes, they've
and the devs have been casting for, haven't they?
Yeah, they've been doing the casting. I don't know if they've got their actors yet, who they want. I was so tempted to fill out that casting form when I was like, I just don't know which character to play as.
Yeah, I saw it. I was like, I would love to be in that game. I can't. Yeah. I'm not a voice actor. That's why I thought, I have a job. I'm not going to take work away from an actual voice actor that would need to work and is actually jobbing and looking for work, because like actual actors need work, and you can't just stick idiot podcasters in games because they quite like them.
Exactly. There's a lot to voice acting. There's you've got to put the emotion behind the voice acting. It's not just doing a voice.
Yeah, but I would love to. Maybe you can play ghosts. We'll just play ghosts.
Just do some noises of the ghosts. Yeah.
Just say, guys, you don't need to credit us. Just let us come in and make some ghost noises, and we can be the ghosts.
CrossButton VR.
Or we can all play. We can play cats. We can play cats, Reece.
Oh my God. They better not change the cat noises in that game. I tell you, they were perfect.
Perfect.
Oh, okay. Right. Let's continue.
In June, we had the full release on PC VR of Blade and Sorcery, a game which I know nothing about, but Reece, you do.
Yeah, Blade and Sorcery is a great one. I mean, a lot of people have already played it by now. It's a sandbox game, but also now has a bit more of a campaign experience to it. And another good reason to mention this one now is apparently they're testing for a PSVR 2 port. They're looking at trying to do tests. They've always kind of said it's something they might look into, but it would be really further down the pipeline. And now it seems like it might be coming sooner than we'd hope. So they're doing their tests to see if they can port it and things like that. So hopefully
When did they say that?
I believe it was it. I mean, I'm taking the information from our good friend Jammy Hero's video where he's found the information. I believe he got it through the Baron on Discord, which the Baron works for.
Is that recent?
Recent, yeah. It was last week.
You're just casually dropping news into the main topic. We'll get to the news.
I thought I'd throw
dropping news bombs.
I can't drop the news bomb. It's Blade and Sorcery. It's like the biggest.
No, all right.
PCVR
well, spoiler
game.
For the news. Okay, yeah. Well, that's coming to PSVR.
Wait, did you put that in the news?
No, I didn't. But
no, you didn't. So it would have got missed. Yeah, exactly.
Right. I don't miss anything.
I did a good job. Be proud of me.
In July, we had Windlands 2. That was a cracking game.
Yeah, very cool.
Freedom of movement and flying around, and that was so good. That was one of those games that you sort of get in the flow of it, and you connect several kind of jumps or like a minute or two of really good running and swinging and jumping and stuff. And you think, I'm going to record that because that was brilliant. I'm the best person in the world at this game. You just feel like it's so
I
cool.
did a 360.
I'm going to post that on Twitter.
Elon's going to love it.
Oh yeah, fuck Elon. Into the Radius 2 came out on PC as well.
Yes,
more on Into the Radius later, but Into the Radius 2.
It got its early access, so it's not in full release. Early access came out for Into the Radius 2 on PC, and yeah, absolutely loving that. Still playing it to this day. Had a lot of fun with it so far.
Mm-hmm. August, then we had the release of Arcade Paradise on PSVR 2. That was a cracking game. That was good. That is another game that you could just. I feel guilty that I really like that game, and I just have not had a chance to go back and play more of it. And I just think because there's like 30 games in there, you could just like and they keep adding more games to it as well.
They just did another recent
more
update.
Arcade cabinets that you can buy and put in your arcade or your laundrette or whatever. And yeah, it just. God, it's just you could just lose so much time in that game playing those games because there's so many good arcade games in the arcade that you have. So that's cool. August also saw the release on Quest of Max Mustard, which came to PSVR 2 later, but Max Mustard came out in August. You and Alex were raved about that at the time and got me very excited. Rightly so.
Good.
Also in August we had Flat to VR Studios unveiled or announced or revealed their existence to the world.
They showed what they were working on, didn't they?
Yeah, which was quite cool because I think they were before that they were just kind of almost like a mod sort of scene, wasn't it? And then they basically.
I think the studio was created, but a lot of it was like modding in the background.
Yeah, they kind of created a process that they were modding stuff, and then they were like, "Oh, let's just get commissioned to do this and just convert games." And Flat to VR Studios was born, and there are 4 games that were revealed. And the other thing that came along in August, which was their first ever VR showcase, which was a cracking extra little bit of VR showcase conferencey thing over the summer. It was nice to get. Had some good reveals and stuff.
Really enjoyed that.
Yeah. September, we had a bit of a low point for the year, which was Hitman 3 VR, which came to the Quest. I won't dwell on that too much, but that was kind of, I felt bad for the developers because haven't they been shut down now? Don't they?
No.
Well, that was the developer that they've
had layoffs. They haven't been shut down.
Okay. Well,
they're still working on another game.
Okay. Well, okay. But yeah, it's never good to see that. So that was a shame when that came
exactly.
out. But we also had Into the Radius on PSVR 2 came out, which was a fairly
fantastic port.
Fairly huge release. I don't know, a lot of these games people would never have heard of, which I just find crazy that kind of VR still lives in this complete bubble, really, from the rest of the. Like, if you just went to any kind of gamer watching the Game Awards, they'd be like, "Oh, what did you think of Into the Radius?" I've never heard of that game before in my life. They would say to you, and that's just a shame, really, because there's so many good games that people are missing out on. And Into the Radius is indeed one of them, as is Snow Scout, which came out that month, which is a kind of like Firewatch style game, which is cool. That was good. And on Quest, you also had Escaping Wonderland, which was Alice in Wonderland Moss style game.
Yeah, very popular. Raved about heavily.
Yep. Now we're getting into the more recent part of the year, the last quarter, and this was traditionally a big time of the year for releasing video games, and this year was no disappointment. And not just video games, but new hardware as well, because October saw the release of the Quest 3S headset, which is something that we had known about for months and months beforehand. I think every part of it had been completely leaked, the specs, what it looked like, everything really to do with it. But it finally came out in October, and it's apparently very good. It's got fantastic reviews. It's supposed to be going to be the way that's going to really help drive mass market uptake of VR, so that's good. Incredibly well priced as well, at £300 and less than that actually. It's about £290 you can find it everywhere at the moment. So that came out, and alongside it was Batman Arkham Shadow, which we'll come back to in a bit. where we talk about the news. We also saw in October the release of Max Mustard on PSVR 2, and that's also one of my top games of the year, up there with Sushi Ben. Such a polished, such a great port as well.
Yeah, no issues with it whatsoever.
Yeah, absolute. Doff my cap to the work they did on that one. Metal Hellsinger VR. Doff my cap. Metal Cell Hellsinger VR.
Yeah.
That came out. You a big fan of that one?
Really enjoyed it.
I liked how they have that game where it's like a rhythm game, but if you have no rhythm, you can just turn off the rhythm and completely just cheat your way through it, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, pretty much.
Another couple of other fantastic releases in October were Arizona Sunshine Remake and Vendetta Forever as well. So much to play in October, worth checking out and stuff.
Yeah, it was busy.
Arizona Sunshine in particular, both those games in particular were fantastic. Arizona Sunshine, just again, really well polished, really well made game. Not I don't know, we wouldn't call it a AAA game, but I think it's as close to AAA as you can expect to get in VR, really, outside of your Batmans and your Metros and stuff.
I'd say that. Yeah, I'd agree.
Really well made, really tight shooting mechanics, and funny, and looks fantastic and stuff. So I was really pleased that came out. And then Vendetta Forever as well. Took a while for me to click with it, but when I did, again, fantastic game. And another game, hats off, that just lets you cheat your way through it as well, and doesn't care if you just want to make it so you can just have infinite lives basically, or you can just not die on it, which again makes you feel like a complete badass, because you just imagine you're dodging the bullets or whatever.
Felt very Matrixy, didn't it?
It was, yeah. Everything about it was really cool. Really. If you haven't played Vendetta Forever, check that one out, because it's a really stylish game. Just look at it. Even if you don't buy it, download it, and play it, just look at it, man. It just looks so cool. November, another big month. Metro Awakening was obviously the big headliner there. And you probably got to say Metro Awakening, that must sort of stand as the biggest release on PSVR 2 for the year. Would you agree?
In terms of IP, or?
Yeah, just in terms of kind of highest profile, let's say, or most AAA.
No, I think highest profile would probably be Batman, just simply because it being DC and a huge IP.
No, for sure Batman, but on PSVR 2, I'm saying.
I'd probably argue that Alien is a bigger IP, but I still, but I feel like in the gaming world, I'd probably say Metro is still very prominent. So,
Okay. Well, either way, it was a very kind of.
Oh yeah, I mean,
a very well made, big budget VR game. With lots of
I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Lots of a big push from Sony as well. Yeah, a huge fan of that. I'm still only about halfway of that one. Oh, God, it's another game that all these games that I've.
One day you will finish them.
Yeah, one day I'll just have some sort of. I need to go on gardening leave and just get signed off work for 3 months, and then everyone just leave me be during the day, and I'll just power through all these games. God, that would be so good. So that was Metro Awakening. Mare came out in November, another one of my absolute highlights. That is the only game that I've played this week, so I won't talk about what I've been playing, because it's just more Mare. But I'm absolutely. It's just so good. It just looks so good. It's just the art style is so good. It really is like another that kind of Last Guardian, eco type style game. You're guiding a companion around a maze basically, and it's just so well made. Love it. A Trombone Champ, the first game from the aforementioned Flat to VR, that came out in November. Starship Troopers Continuum also came out in November on Quest, and then also in November, just highlight the fact that PSVR 2 pretty much seemed like the whole month just had massive discounts on PSVR 2. Like, when you see the price of it, like when they advertise it's like 560 with the Horizon Call the Mountain bundle, and they're discounting it down to 350. That's like so much they're taking off of it. It's just crazy, that discount. And like 350 for that is a really good price for what you're getting with the headset. Because you can imagine, if you say the game
on sale as well.
If you think the game is kind of on its own, it'd be like 40 quid. You pay for that game, 40, maybe 50 quid. You're paying £300 then for the headset and the controller, which is the same as a Quest 3S. And okay, Quest is standalone VR and whatever, but the PSVR 2 compared to it's a more powerful system than the Quest 3S for sure. and yeah, £300 for that is a bargain. And yeah, it's on sale I think for the rest of the month until I think 1st or 2nd of January, I believe.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's early
That's right.
January.
So
Because I was
I think
browsing PlayStation, I saw it was on sale still, and I was like, "How is this not sold out yet?" Like, I just expected it to be sold out on direct or something, but still going
yeah.
strong.
Well, we'll come back to Sony and what they're doing PSVR 2 in a minute when we sort of look over the whole year. But just to finally then December, we've just had it. Behemoth just come out. I'm loving it. You're loving it. Have you finished it yet?
I've not finished it. I've been busy with another game.
Yeah, well, that other game that's going to come out in December that hasn't come out when we're recording this. I'm just trying to when this episode's going out. I think the day before the reviews and things go out for it. So we'll talk about it in the next episode 95. That's Alien Rogue Incursion. So that's the final big release to end out the year. Whew. So that's it for the year. What's your personal highlights for 2024, Reece?
I'm gonna say for me, like for one game that I'm still really enjoying and haven't finished, Batman: Arkham Shadow. I've decided over Christmas I'm going to finish that game. Every time I play it, I want to stop playing it because I don't want to finish it because just of how much I'm enjoying it. But I think one game that made me feel like I was in a franchise I absolutely love, Metro Awakening. It was just magic for me, pure magic. Like, yeah, there's been so many highlights. Like, there's been a lot of games I've loved this year, but I don't know. It's almost like walking through an environment that you already you've experienced in a game and then experiencing it in VR. It's just it's something really cool about it. And yeah, Metro Awakening did that for me.
Yeah, it definitely has that atmosphere. I think there's something about because it's all set in the tunnels. Basically, it just lends itself really well to being in VR. You don't mind it's such a kind of claustrophobic medium, if you like. It kind of suits that setting really well. It just feels very atmospheric and it looks great on PSVR. Mirror notwithstanding.
Yeah, even with the mirror, you just kind of deal with it. You get used to it. I think it's one of the trade-offs you're going to have with the OLEDs, but you deal with it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think because the first year of PSVR 2 it came out February, didn't it? 23. So we're just coming on to nearly 2 years on the market. I mean, the first year of the headset actually had some big releases. Probably over the whole year, there was more in the first year that I think people who aren't really kind of in depth in all this will recognise, and will probably, a lot of people say, "Oh, there was no games released on PSVR," or they'll probably just say like, "Well, Metro, Behemoth, and Alien, maybe all the only ones that will have any kind of
because they're the ones with the big names, aren't they? So anything people will know outside of VR.
Yeah, I mean, it's lucky for Sony, I suppose, they've got those 3 games out whilst the PSVR 2 is significantly discounted. So I'm not sure, as good as Mare is, I'm not sure it's going to be moving. It's not system seller in the same way that.
Unfortunately, probably not.
No, but it was whereas in the previous year you obviously had Horizon and you had your Resident Evil 4 port and stuff, and I can't remember what other games came out.
There was loads. GT, Resident Evil 8. You had all that within the first year of VR. First year of PSVR 2, you had quite a lot to kind of just grasp within the first few weeks of having the headset, let alone waiting for anything to come. Now we're kind of even with waiting for games to come, I still feel like we're kind of suffocating or just our heads just slightly above the water. Yeah.
Well, it's a funny one, isn't it? Because there is so much to play on there, and I could kind of rattle off a list of 20, 30 games to play. But if you're not interested in games, you're not willing to sort of look into games or try something you've never heard of. There aren't those kind of big tentpole releases that are going to grab the attention of a more kind of mainstream audience.
No, exactly.
There was missing this year. There was missing the kind of the Astrobot or something that everyone's heard of now in VR. I mean, Batman Arkham obviously is the game, but that's obviously no use to Sony, obviously. But yeah, I think that game is probably. I mean, that's got to be the standout title for the year, and obviously we'll come to it in the news in a minute as well. That it was, in fact, the standout game of the year when it comes to VR. But yeah, from a PSVR 2 point of view, I don't know. Like, it's interesting. Like, what are Sony making any games for it at all? Will there be any first party games? I'm not necessarily bothered if they're not. I think there's still stuff coming to it.
It's like what I've said with the PSVR 1. It got to the point where a lot of it was third party games, but you're just happy that games were coming to it. I mean, sure, you had some of their bigger releases they did, and obviously they haven't done as many as that yet, but they didn't all release within the first 2 years of PSVR 1 being a thing either. So, yeah, I could argue give it time. I could also say the same thing a lot of other people are saying, but I'm just going to be completely honest, and I think it's one thing people should just start saying. We have no idea what they're doing. We really don't have an idea what they're doing. I hope for more PSVR 2 games on their list of things to do, but I also don't think it's in the forefront of what they are required to do at the moment. I feel like they've kind of got that point where they're making all these big games. I mean, we've just seen that Naughty Dog have got a new game in the works. You know, you've got some new IPs, things like that. Not all Sony first party studios, but they've got things in the work. But again, whether it's going to be VR in the future, we're not really too sure. But as long as they keep doing updates and supporting the headset, I don't really care.
Yeah, I mean, VR, PS5, you're right, it's got some new reveals this week at the Game Awards. It's got a fantastic few years ahead of it. There's that new Ghost of Yutai, there's Death Stranding 2, there's Intergalactic,
See,
there's...
I'd like them to do an experience in Ghost of Yotai, like just a VR experience. It doesn't have to be a full VR version, but just a VR experience where maybe you explore the area on your horse or you just walk around the area. You don't have to do combat. I just want to be able to walk around the area because
Yeah, that would be...
one thing from Tsushima for me was the environment and how stunning it was. Could you imagine just walking around that area, just doing nothing but just taking in that scenery?
Mm-hmm. Well, you've seen that with Horizon, haven't you? How well that
Yeah,
translates to just taking the world that you know and just seeing it in VR is
exactly.
transformative. It's fantastic. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Like, I'm happy for PSVR, a bit like the Vita, just to exist as a kind of indie playground that Sony have just created this platform for people to, you know, it's a really technically brilliant piece of hardware, and Sony are saying, there you go, you make games for it. We're just a platform holder. It's a bit like they were with the PS1 and the PS2. To be fair, back in the
exactly.
day, they never really pushed first-party games. It was never really a big thing. They were just there to try and kind of grow the ecosystem with some more obscure releases. So it was always more about just that we'll make the hardware, devs, you come in, you make the software, and we'll all profit. So that might be what they're doing with it. And in which case, we've just been through that list. There's loads of stuff there. I could, if they didn't release another game now for the PS2 2, I would have stuff to play for the next couple of years, just catching up on everything.
Yeah,
actually finishing up these games. So genuinely, it wouldn't bother me. I mean, it would bother me if everyone would be like, "Well, PS2 did rubbish."
yeah, it'd bother me if third-party titles wasn't porting over their great games and things like that. Because there's a lot of cool stuff from these indie developers. If they all said, "Nah, Joe, well, we're not going to bother porting over to the PS2," then at that point is when I'd say to people, "Okay, be worried," because it's the same thing with the way it was with the PSVR 1. If people don't want to port their games over, that's when you're going to have an issue because then you are reliant on, the first party stuff. So
yeah,
only when that happens and if that happens, then start saying, okay, now we need to be worried. Until then, just kind of enjoy what's coming.
well, exactly. I play a lot of flat games, probably more so than I do VR games, and I don't have a huge amount of time to play those games, as we have seen. So I don't need to play everything. And what they have put out there, I've had a fantastic year. There's the stuff we've been through there, like Sushi Ben, Windlands 2, Max Mustard, Arizona Sunshine, Metro, Behemoth. Like that's enough for me. Like, and probably 90% of gamers don't buy more than kind of half a dozen games at all a year. Like, people get to the end of a system's lifespan and have like 20 odd games, and there's easily that many games to play on VR. So yeah, I don't like, we're not normal in terms of the fact that we're very fortunate and we get access to those games and we get kind of overwhelmed with it. But I think if you want those big kind of first party tentpole games, I wouldn't buy a PSVR 2 for that at this stage. Maybe they'll come later and it'll be great. But I think if that's what you want and that's essential for you, then don't get a PSVR 2. Just stick with PS5, I would say, or get a Quest or something else. If you are buying one because you want access to this ecosystem of really cool, inventive, experimental games, really good, quirky indie support, then that's what you should be buying it for, I would suggest. And I think that's what, if I look at 2024 in general, that's what I look at the whole year in general, that's what it says to me. I think you've got some stuff there. I think if you're Sony that you're looking at, you think, well, we facilitated Metro, we've got Behemoth, we've got Alien. That's 3 decent games that people have heard of and we've pushed and we've given quite good support to in our state of plays and stuff. that's enough. I think we've got 3 big games. There's lots of other indie games for people to play if they want to seek them out. I think they'll be thinking, yeah, we've done enough there. On to the next year.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you think it compares to previous years in as kind of stand out? Maybe just like from Quest as well, and as a whole kind of VR as a medium. How does it stand state of play in 2024?
I think just in general, VR this year has been very big. There's been a lot more big IPs coming and things like that. Obviously you've had Metro, you've had Batman, you've had Behemoth. I mean, Behemoth not being a new IP, but also a very big title, a very ambitious title. And obviously, you've got Alien coming. You've got all these big IPs that are coming over to VR. And I think that right alone is probably the way forward for more people go, okay, I want to try VR now because there's these big IPs. So in that sense of stuff, I think it's been a very positive year for VR. There has been some ups and downs. There has been these games that have dropped with, bugs, issues, and just loads of unfortunate things. But we're also in a time where I feel like a lot of the time that can't be excused. I say can't be excused. I mean, you also can't, accept it all the times either. I think sometimes it depends. But obviously, it's one of them situations of how video games are these days, sadly. But no, I think in general for VR, I think it's been a very strong year, like very strong in my opinion. I've barely played any flat games this year, and I think the previous year, even when PSVR 2 came out, I was still playing flat games. The year before that, I was still playing flat games and maybe dropping into my PSVR 1 here and there. This year, I think I'd say probably about 90 to 95% of my gaming has been PSVR 2, Quest, and PC VR. I have probably played a little sprinkling of a non-VR game here and there. And I think that right there is an indication of how busy this year has been, how strong this year has been for VR as well, from my perspective. Other people may not feel the same, but for me, it's been a great year.
Nice. Good to hear it. I mean, people need to remember with VR, it's a new medium. It's like games have only really been, like developers have only really been making VR games and hitting their stride, in the last 5 years? Like you've been getting a kind of real cadence of good high quality releases that aren't kind of janky in some way or have issues in some way as developers are still finding their feet. It still is a very new medium whenever whatever you go from date wise. So it's good to see there's so many big IPs that are getting VR entries because, like I say, that'll grow the medium. One other thing I should mention, just when talking about kind of Sony and how they treated PSVR 2 in the year, it was back in June that they launched the PSVR 2 games on PS Plus Premium. So that was a nice little thing that happened this year as well, and that has steadily grown over the 6 months since. It's now a pretty decent collection of people if they buy a headset day one, you get access to these VR games. So again, that's a credit to Sony for that. I think if you're buying a PSVR 2, you're probably the sort of person that's picking up PS Plus as well, and when they do all these deals, Black Friday they had it. It's not that much more expensive to get premium. So people can come in and they've got access to a dozen or so games there now that they can play on day one, and they're good games.
Heavy hitters, there's some really heavy hitters.
So that's another big feather in the cap of PSVR 2. Some change that happened this year, so it's good to see that. So all right, good year. Well, let's see what 2025 brings, and maybe we'll do a preview episode in the next few weeks at some point. Let's move on to the news, shall we?
Yes. Let's crack on. Let's crack on with it.
Okay. Well, I'm just conscious of how long we're already running for, so we'll quick fire on some news. Behemoth has had its reviews out, and surprisingly, they're quite mixed. We obviously loved it. We thought it was impressed, but now I wonder, is this because it's the sort of game that's high profile enough that it's getting reviewed by outlets that don't usually review VR?
There is that, I think, but I also do genuinely. Yeah, I think there is that. I think because you had I don't know if did IGN do anything on this or not. I'm not too sure, but there was some big outlets and things like that talking about the game. But there was also some genuine issues that the game does have here and there. Certain things you can't grab onto, and some things. And I'd say it's more jank than issues. But there has been a lot of complaints with combat, which they've now just done a new patch trying to fix the combat to iron that out a little bit more. And I don't know. I feel like when you do a game this ambitious, I think it's a given that there's going to be some issues here and there. I think that's just, it's going to happen. Let's be honest. You're climbing these giant moving creatures. Something's going to happen. And so, to be fair, I'm surprised more it didn't happen. I'm surprised there wasn't more issues. But for the most part, it works very well. But yeah, I think there is some people that are absolutely loving it, and then there's some people that are just like, nah, I don't know what it is. It's not for me, kind of thing. Yeah, we've enjoyed it. I'm still enjoying it. I'm looking forward to going back to it, especially now with these newer patches they've just added as well.
Yeah, I'm just looking push square, 4 out of 10 from them. Eurostar, 2 stars.
4 out of 10.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. It's not a 4 out of 10 game, is it? It's
what was it on Metacritic? I think it was like 45 or 49 on Metacritic. It was something ridiculous, and literally,
I mean, that's why though. It's outlets like that. PlayStation Universe also 5 out of 10. So yeah, those sort of outlets did not gel with it. But if you look at Metacritic at the user reviews, they're all 9s and 10s. And people absolutely love it. So
yeah, go by those because yeah,
and we loved it. We
4 out of 10.
We both thought it was
mate.
good, so.
They should be disbarred. Tell ya.
Yeah.
Okay, now.
I mean, push square. They did say it feels like it's still in a beta phase, and that it's a harsh. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. But
no.
I mean, you could say
did they play the arena mode that says beta next to it?
Well, yeah, that one literally is.
They saw that word and they was like, the whole game's in the beta phase.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's random, but
Odd
there you
one.
go. So that's a shame, but we'll see what people think about it. I suppose to see what. We'd love to know your thoughts if you picked up the game and played it. Let us know in the comments, and I promise to read them and see what people think.
I'll read them.
Moving on to more positive news. Batman, we talked about it before. Biggest game of the year for Quest and biggest game for VR in general, really, because it picked up at the Game Awards VR Game of the Year. So not a huge surprise. I think everyone was expecting that to win. And from what you're telling me, it sounds like it's very well deserved as well.
100%. They definitely deserved it. Congratulations to Camouflage, the whole team. Literally, yeah. It's one of those VR games that I put up there as like one of the best VR games I've played, like next to Half-Life Alyx. I don't know. And I think it's because it's based in the Arkham universe, and I'm a big fan of those. Again, it's touching on that kind of nostalgia, also that feeling of being in an area that seems familiar to you, but living in the world of, these games that you've played before. It's just so well done. And I really, really hope that Meta's like, guys, you've all got to make a sequel now. You need to do more of this. You need to expand on this. It's so good. And like I said, I don't want to finish it. I genuinely don't, and I know it's going to get a new game plus and all that kind of stuff, but I just don't want to get to the end.
If they do all that work, putting together those mechanics and that kind of framework for it all, and to not make a sequel would be absolutely crazy. It's Batman, for Christ's sake. It's as sure fire bet as you can get in VR. So yeah, and it's another game. Sony can't keep letting these games. I mean, it's kind of what Xbox has happened to them. Yeah, they keep letting Sony make big third-party games exclusive to their platform, and then they end up just doing really badly in comparison. And that's probably going to be PSVR 2's fate, I suspect, because if Sony aren't bothered about buying exclusivity for these games in the way that Meta are, and Meta are being aggressive in this space, then it's not good for Sony when it tells a lot of Sony's priorities when you look at the main Game of the Year awards and all 6 of the games are available on PS5 and half of them weren't available on Xbox, and then you go to the VR category and it's kind of all the games available on Quest and only a few of them on PSVR 2, so it's kind of like the same scenario, but Sony are in the kind of other position as not having everything.
I mean, so this is the thing though. Sony have the counteract for this. They have literally the best thing. Just get Insomnia to make Spider-Man VR. They know how to make VR games, and they're just all they need to do is just be like, make a VR.
They're not bothered. They're not bothered. They're just why would they distract Insomnia from making Wolverine and whatever else? That's where the money is for them. So they've got
sadly so.
They need to do. We mentioned earlier the PS Plus lineup. Star Wars is this month's game, joining it, Tales of the Galaxy's Edge. So that's cool. That's another game that the next time the Days of Play sale runs around for PS Plus. I'm timing it, so that's when my Game Pass is going to run out. That's when I'm going to renew it. I'm going to get PS Plus actually. Then I can play Star Wars. I can play all the sub games.
All the other ones we can't remember off the top of our heads.
Pistol Whip. That's the one that I want to play. Most of them I've already got, but Pistol Whip and Star Wars are like, yes, they're the two that I'm keen to jump in.
Fair play.
Beat Saber has got another update, and this one is a Metallica update, which is out now. I think it's 17 tracks, which are they usually that generous? That seems like a lot.
No, not usually.
Yeah.
Not usually. She's like 10 sometimes. It's a bit, it's hit and miss really, but yeah. I think it's like 15 odd pounds.
You're a Metallica fan?
I don't mind some of their music, but not enough to be like, oh, this is groundbreaking. It's more groundbreaking for me just because it's going to have some guitar riffs and some heavy drums and things like that. I'd be more for a Slipknot pack.
Fun one to do. It'd be a fun one to do though, and it'd be a good one to do like parties and stuff. You've got friends over just jumping into it and stuff because people know enough Metallica songs that it's like Queen. It's quite kind of mainstream enough.
Yeah, I will likely pick that up. I've just not decided whether to pick it up on Quest or the PSVR 2. I think I prefer Beat Saber on Quest just because of the way the controllers are.
Another thing to note is hardware-wise is we've seen Android we've got that kind of competitor system compared to Meta OS, and there's a range of new devices. There's Android XR and a range of devices coming from Sony, Samsung, and other devs.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. So these are it's interesting. Sony's making a new hardware for that as well. They're going to have a headset which runs on Android and a headset that runs on their own PS5 operating system. So that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. And then also, what we got next? We're going to go to the tops of the PSN charts. Oof.
Yeah, well,
which doubles back to how happy I was with the game, doesn't it? Really.
Well, I mean, I'd be surprised if this wasn't the biggest seller of the month because it was, like I say, it was. I think this is probably the PSVR 2's highest profile game of the year. I mean, you want to say Alien, but I think Sony put more muscle.
I say Alien because of IP. I don't say Alien because of who's pushing it more, but IP-wise, Alien is a bigger IP than Metro. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No,
come on, Laurie.
For sure. I mean, like, this is seen as like the most, like the biggest game to get excited about, or the biggest. Like, and Alien is a game that no one's ever. There's no kind of pedigree behind the studio, so no one really knows if it's going to be any good or not, apart from you who've played it. But it's like Metro, we kind of knew from the previews and stuff that it was going to be a good game. So good to see that it topped the charts anyway. No surprise on that one. So, and that was
very well.
Europe and the US, Canada as well.
I believe Vertigo had multiple games in the charts that month as well, which was really good to see for them.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're a prolific VR publisher, so
they really are.
So why not? Final bit of news of the week is Subside, which is that lovely watery, splashing about, diving, scuba diving type game. That's coming out on PS4 2 on December the 20th, so very soon after this episode drops. And that's also going to have a PS5 Pro update enhancement at launch as well. So it joins the very short list of PSVR 2 games that have PS5 Pro enhancements. Oh god, that's very hard to say. So yeah, I shall be looking forward to diving into that one.
There, he did it.
And I hope you will be too, Reece, because I know you're a fan.
I am certainly going to. I mean, I haven't played it since the demo, and I'm hyped. Like, running at 90 hertz, it's going to look great. It's like you said, straight out the door with PS5 Pro upgrades. I mean, I've not bought a PS5 Pro. I still don't find any need to just yet. But if more developers are going to start doing this and coming out straight out the door with these PS5 Pro upgrades straight away for VR games, I'm going to be all over it. So really happy that they're pushing for this. Well, I say he's pushing for this. They are pushing for this. Them.
Yeah.
Whatever.
One guy developer can put out fucking PS5 Pro version.
Yeah, Sony.
Then everyone else, come on.
Yeah, if one guy could do it, Sony.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about new releases, and Sony, that would depend on Sony actually releasing a new release for PS2, which is not a given.
Mic drop.
Well, just spitting facts.
Yeah,
Just spitting.
yeah,
I mean, I can see why devs can't be asked to go back and patch old games because, like, they're like, no,
yeah.
the team's all working on something else now. We don't have people just sitting around making this game still that came out like 3 years ago, 2 years ago, whatever. But for any future games, then they will need to have PS5 Pro enhancements, please. To cater for the very small subset of PS5 owners that also have a PS5 Pro and a PSVR 2.
And a PSVR 2,
It's a
yeah.
niche within a niche within a niche. Yeah, we're getting into the weeds here, but we do exist. Alex and I would like these updates, please. People with more money than sense, apparently, or not.
Yeah, somebody would enjoy it.
Don't mind ruining themselves financially for the sake of this year.
Just for you guys, yeah. Just
no, sold one of my children, funded it all. It's fine. Oh, Reece, let's just finish off with what we have been playing.
Yes.
And I have only been playing Mare. I've already talked about that. So tell me what you have been playing, Reece, if you please.
I tried, only because we mentioned it last week and I felt obliged to give it a go. My first GT. Or my first Gran Turismo, I think it's actually titled.
Yep.
But, yeah. I like it, but there's a big but for this. And the reason why it's a big but is simply because this is pretty much a hands-holding experience of you learning Gran Turismo and how it functions, and just to get past the first part of them, it's just constant tutorial after tutorial, and I'm like,
no.
I just want to drive. I just want to.
Could you not?
You can't skip all this. You've got to get your license first. So you have to go through all these different tutorials just to get your license. It's like, yeah, but I just want to drive. Like, I want to experience this in VR. I want to drive. It looks great, though, and it feels great. I do think that I would appreciate a racing rig with a game like this, because using the controller, it just wasn't doing anything for me. I wanted to play it with the actual sense controllers and steer the wheel like that, but again, that doesn't have that option. Yeah, I think it's really cool, and it has made me go, yeah, next time it's on sale, I might pick up GT and just actually get into that. I'm impressed with how it looks, and obviously this just being a little bit of like a snippet of what GT has to offer. I think it's definitely worth a trial before buying the full thing, but I do feel like the hand-holding experience is enough to make me go, okay, I just want to go and play the full release, then just skip all the tutorials and do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, but no, other than that, I'm glad they kind of release this as like a demo experience for people like me really go, oh, I want to try a VR racing game, but I don't know whether I'm going to enjoy it. And I have played other VR racing games and I do enjoy them, but I've never really wanted to spend £40 on one.
Do you think it gives you enough to find out if or not you get motion sickness?
I think for some people, maybe, yeah, it might help them out.
Well, because that's the thing, because if you want to buy the full version of the game and then find out you can't play it, like if you play this and you're fine with this, you're going to be fine with the full game. So it gives a nice
you can only hope
for people to test their VR sea legs, as it were.
Yeah, exactly that. And then next up, I jumped into Fast Travel Games' new release, Action Hero, which is a bit similar to games like Super Hot.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose you could say it's a little bit similar to Vendetta Forever in a way, but not really, because you don't really move on this. So the way this works is, you've got people coming towards you. You have to grab a weapon. Again, you press a button to make the time move faster, and then you take shots at them, dodge their shots, all things like that. But it takes place on these different movie sets or different themes. Like the first one's like very feels a bit like Tomb Raider-y, exploring with dinosaurs and ancient ruins and things like that happening. It's a really cool concept, and it's one of the games that has you moving around pretty quick, like to the point where 1 minute I was standing up and next minute I was squatting down. And I think after playing it for 30 minutes, I could really feel like the burn in my legs of just squatting down and dodging everything, because I was getting low. Like, I can understand why they've not put this on the PSVR 2, because literally at one point this laser came across and I was like, I don't think I can duck under that. So I literally laid down on the floor at the fear that ducking wouldn't be able to dodge it. So, because obviously if you fail that bit, you go back to the first part of that section and you have to redo all them again. So I was like, I don't want to keep redoing them. And I literally laid on the floor and then had to get back up. And yeah, it's a really cool experience. I think it's one of them ones that, again, blurs lines between gaming and fitness in a way, because you are moving around a lot. And you can throw your weapons at the enemies. they run to you can keep dodging their bullets, and when they run towards you, you can grab their weapon, hit them over the head, shoot the other one running towards you, and it gives you that action hero feel, and perfect title name just simply because of how it does make you feel. But I don't think a video game has ever made me go from standing to literally dropping to the floor within seconds because of the fear of dying in a game before. Like, this really had me going, oh no, I'm going to die. I don't want to start again.
Oh man, I hope they do pause it. It sounds great.
Yeah, I mean, I do, but at the same point, I don't want to trip on my cable or jump on my cable and pull it out of my headset.
Trip on my cable.
I just don't want to break the poor thing, but no, really cool experience. I can see it being frustrating for some people, obviously, because of the type of game it is. You're going to keep redoing the same bit over and over again, but obviously, improvement through repetition, type of thing, is what this game has going for it. You get better the more you play it, and I think you're going to have a good time with it. I really did. I'm going to keep playing it. Yeah, it's a good one. They've done a really good job with it.
Awesome. Well, and it's a list of Quest games that I shall pick up when I get a 3S at some point.
You will get it one of these days.
I will. And the bells will ring when I do. Right, well, let's wrap things up for this week there. Thank you, everyone, for watching, listening, however you imbibe us. If you enjoyed this episode, we'd love it if you could please tell your family and your friends all about us. And if you want to get more involved, please don't hesitate to jump into our Discord and say hello. Thank you to everyone that's done so already. I've been your host, Laurie. This guy has been Reece. And we will see you again next time. Until then, it's goodbye.